Welcome back to the channel, and let's quickly talk about how Manchester United fared versus Leeds United yesterday in their first preseason game of the season. Yesterday we saw quite some few interesting things, although it was largely an uninspiring game. For the first half, the game was dull, was boring, and it was played at a very slow pace. Probably because it was the first preseason game for both sides, both Manchester United and Leeds United. This is their first preseason game of the season, so it was quite dull. But notwithstanding, from a Manchester United perspective, we noticed a few interesting things in the match yesterday, and I'll quickly outline them for us so that we can take note. Yesterday, Matthias Cunha for the first half was the most influential player on the pitch. Like, he was heads and shoulders above every other person in the Manchester United jersey playing yesterday. Although it was nothing really serious, but at least we could see that picking up the ball and driving through the middle of the pitch, something we can barely boast of from any of our other players. Man United last season favored ball progression from the wing back, because it was much easier. There was not much ball progression through the middle of the pitch. But yesterday we saw something quite different with Matthias Cunha on the pitch. He was able to pick the ball up and drive through the middle of the pitch, committing opposition players and drawing fouls here and there. And that's one thing that's going to help us with ball progression through the middle of the pitch. It was only for the first half, and we couldn't see it more in the second half. Then something else we need to talk about was the second half of that match, when we had Lenioro and Aiden Heaven. These two young players were so amazing to watch yesterday. Why? Number one, because of their ball playing ability. If you watch that match, you discover that for the second half, we were able to sustain attack, sustain possession in the opponent's half. And why? Because our centre backs, they were equally capable with ball progression, either by carrying it forward to break the opposition block or by switching long passes. For Lenioro yesterday, we saw quite like two or three long switches over to the far side to Dogu to attack. And it was nice to see, because in the first half, when he had Mazraoui and Luke Shaw, they were quite conservative. They were not expressive on the ball. I know they have that ability to switch the long passes, but they were not doing it regularly, and it's actually limited how we can play from the back. But with Dogu holding the weight and Lenioro, it's always easy to find him because he has that ability to switch the ball. And for Aiden Heaven, personally, I don't think Lisandro Martinez has a free walk back into this team whenever he's fit. That left-sided centre back look tailor-made for Aiden Heaven. He has the ability to defend large spaces on his own, and that's one of the things that pushes Dogu to go so high up the pitch, because when you are so high up the pitch, you need to be worried of what's happening back there in your defense. But with Aiden Heaven there, he has the pace, he has the physicality, and he has the intelligent reading of the game to cover large spaces on his own. And yesterday, if you watch very well, I think Dogu spent most of his time in the opponent's half rather than in our defensive half, unlike when we had Luke Shaw and Diego Leon. And the last thing I'd like us to touch on is Kobe Meno, our majestic midfield maestro. Last season, we often see him play in the number 10 position, which was not really favorable to him. But yesterday, he was brought back into his midfield position, and we saw what he can do, keeping the ball in tight spaces and just knitting the play together with one or two sharp touches here and there. And going forward, in fact, I'm intrigued to see what Ruben Amorim will do with his midfield, because we have Casemiro, Ugarte, Fernandes, Kobe Meno, all these four players vying for two midfield positions, and we all know Bruno Fernandes is a constant in that midfield position. So it's out there for us to see if Ruben Amorim is going to partner Meno with Fernandes, which is going to expose us a bit defensively, or if Kobe Meno is going to sit on the bench. So thank you. That's just everything. Nothing serious for this match. We're hoping to look forward to the next match and see some kind of improvements from the players as they gain more match fitness after at least one or two more training sessions. So So thank you very much. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, please kindly hit the subscribe button as it will help us to develop greatly. Thank you.